The Swadeshi movement was a significant mass movement in India's struggle for independence, initiated in 1905 in response to the Partition of Bengal. The movement, which centered on boycotting British goods and promoting indigenous products, marked a shift from moderate constitutional methods to more assertive forms of political struggle. Background and causes. Partition of Bengal. 1905. The immediate catalyst was Lord Curzon's decision to partition Bengal. The British claimed administrative efficiency as the reason, but the real motive was to create a divide between Hindus and Muslims and weaken the growing nationalist sentiment in Bengal, a nerve center of Indian nationalism. Failed moderate methods. Early nationalist campaigns against the partition, relying on petitions, public meetings, and newspaper campaigns, failed to pressure the British into revoking the decision. This led to a search for new, more radical methods of protest. Growing economic nationalism. The works of early nationalists like Dadabhai Naoroji, who articulated the drain theory of wealth extraction from India, laid the intellectual foundation for economic resistance against British rule. Repressive policies of Lord Curzon. Other unpopular measures, such as the Indian Universities Act of 1904, further fueled discontent among the educated middle class. Key events and strategies. Proclamation, 7th August, 1905. The Swadeshi movement was formally launched at a meeting in the Calcutta Town Hall, where a boycott resolution was passed. The movement and boycott of British goods spread quickly across India. Methods of protest. Boycott. Promoted boycotting British goods, including textiles, salt, and sugar. Foreign goods were publicly burned in bonfires. Swadeshi promoted indigenous industries and products, which led to the establishment of numerous textile mills, tanneries, banks, and insurance companies. National education. In response to the British Carlisle Circular, which threatened action against protesting students, national schools and colleges were founded. This included the Bengal National College, with Aurobindo Ghosh as its principal. Samitis. Volunteer organizations, Samitis, like the Swadesh Bandhap Samiti, were formed to mobilize the masses through social work and political campaigns. Festivals. Traditional festivals like Ganpati and Shivaji in Maharashtra, organized by Bal Gangadhar Tilak, were used to spread nationalist ideas. Leadership and participation. Leaders. The movement was led by both moderates and extremists within the Indian National Congress. Moderates. Figures like Gopal Krishna Gokhale and Surendranath Banerjee supported the movement, initially using constitutional methods. Extremists. Leaders like Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Lala Lajpat Rai, and Bipin Chandra Pal, Lal Bal Pal, advocated for more radical methods and mass participation to achieve Swaraj, self-rule. Participants. Students, highly active in protests, picketing, and campaigns. Women participated in processions and picketing, marking the first time they were actively involved in the national movement in such large numbers. Muslims. While some Muslims participated, most of the upper and middle-class Muslims stayed away, influenced by the British divide and rule policy and the promise of a Muslim-majority province. Impact and legacy. Annulment of partition. The growing opposition and administrative difficulties eventually forced the British to annul the partition of Bengal in 1911. Shift in nationalist strategy. The movement marked a pivotal shift from the moderate approach of petitions and prayers to more assertive strategies like passive resistance and non-cooperation. Many of the techniques pioneered during this movement were later adopted by Mahatma Gandhi. Promotion of self-reliance. Atma Shakti. The movement fostered a strong sense of national pride, self-reliance, and economic empowerment by promoting indigenous enterprises and skills. Cultural revival. There was a great flourishing of Indian art, literature, and music. Rabindranath Tagore's composition Amar Sonar Bangla became a rallying cry for the movement. Growth of extremism. The movement's failure to achieve its immediate goals and the subsequent British repression fueled the rise of radical nationalism and revolutionary activities. Limitations and failure. Internal divisions. The split in the Indian National Congress at Surat in 1907 between the moderates and extremists weakened the movement. Limited mass appeal. While it saw significant participation, the movement largely remained confined to the upper and middle classes and failed to deeply penetrate the peasantry. Repression. The British government's brutal crackdown, including mass arrests, deportations, and lathi charges, ultimately suppressed the movement by 1908. Inconsistent leadership. The movement was left leaderless after key figures were arrested or deported.